Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the NDA podcast. This is episode 21. Join with me today is Kevin, and today we're going to be going over the awards for the NDA. Now, season 4 has ended, and it ended a little bit ago, but we still want to give you guys the awards for the best mons and the coaches of the season. So, without further ado, we shall introduce some of these awards. Kevin, take it away.
All right. Well, there's I feel like the first place we have to go to is the first NDA, first team all NDA. So these are the 6 mons because you bring 6 to every battle. Only 4 comp. You gotta we decided to go with 6. These mons were arguably the best. It was determined based on a couple things, mostly kills. But we take into consideration like sets like how many times they've come, and just overall effectiveness. Like you kind of just know when things are having a really good time during the season. So
it's not all metric based. Some of it is not like specifically statistically based, but
at the same
heavily
time,
leaning on the stats.
At the same time, if you were to check the statistics, it would back it up for sure. But without further ado, our first member of the first team is Mr. Yveltal of the Linster Leafeons by Coach Wex. I think this one's pretty self-explanatory. Yveltal, I believe, led the league in kills. I think it tied Calyrex Shadow, who, spoilers, is also first team. We can announce that now because I feel like I could talk about them in the same sentence.
Hopefully Wex is showing a screenshot of this.
Yes. Calyrex Shadow of the Yuli Ludicolos by Coach Bobby Gray, or Rooster, as we like to call him. Basically, both mons kind of just killed everything this season. They led the league in kills. I believe Yveltal finished technically higher because of... I forget why we decided Yveltal finished above Calyrex. I think it was on kills to set ratio, maybe was the tiebreaker. But both mons dominated, and Calyrex was honestly a surprise. I remember. I don't know if you remember, Justin, but coming into the season, we didn't even think it would get drafted as restricted because of its 2-4 times weaknesses.
Yeah, because I mean, looking at it, it's like, okay, well, if you shadow sneak into it, it's doing a lot of damage. If you sucker punch into it, it's doing a lot of damage. I'm not really sure how this is going to be good, and then lo and behold, it ends up being really good because it just does so much damage. It's an absolute beast for sure, and deserves all the credit that it has gotten, honestly.
Yeah, Rooster did it very nice. Supported it well. Just like fast, and then a base 120 stab spread move. It's hard to compete with. I'll let you do the fate. Let you announce the next one. It's very close to your heart.
Yeah, the next one on the All-NDA first team is Dialga, coached by me. Now, I mean, that's a pretty obvious one, I feel. Finishing second overall in the league, led by Dialga as my restricted. It came to literally every single game except for one. It just put in so much work for me, and it was such a beast, such a hard thing to kill. I mean, with the max steel spikes or max quakes, paired with a possible weakness policy, it just did not want to die, and it put in a lot of work, so it deserves a spot. For the next spot.
Just a little unrelated side note, the one match that didn't come was against me. So, I have an excuse. I prepped hard for that thing and just didn't. Asshole.
You should have prepped for Max Dusknor. I'm just saying.
Yeah, weakness policy Dusknor. I should just be prepping for that all the time. Anyway, Next is another large weakness policy candidate. Great weakness policy mon. These bulky steel types, they do be doing damage with a weakness policy. Is another Linster. Sorry, Wex, I'm probably butchering it. Leafeon, coached by Wexford Warrior. It is the Metagross. I mean, Wex pulled like a quartz this season. He had 2 mons that his 2 S tiers. They put in some damage. They got probably
most of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, probably
most
over 2/3 of his kills. So very very, very interesting. Pulled a quartz, and he did well because of it. Both those mons, Yveltal and Metagross, carried Wex, got large amount of kills, and were very tough, difficult to deal with all season. Next we have a big bulky boy, new to the NDA this season because of restricted, unlike Metagross. It is Groudon, coached by Harrison of the Hungry Harrisons.
This was a very, very, I feel like, underrated pick by Harrison. It just had so many different, options. I mean, Harrison used it so well, trying to utilize, physically, specially, with substitute. I mean, the amount of
weakness
looks,
policy, without weakness policy.
Yeah, the amount of looks that Groudon gave, it was hard to prepare for a single,
strategy.
Set. So it was definitely a beast, and I think it's well deserved for its spot on the first team, for sure. And then the last mon on the All NDA first team is none other than Eternatus, coached by the New England Palkias, aka Will That Kid.
Eternatus beats out Zacian and Zamazenta in this first All NDA team. Some would say the inferior one, but Will used it very well all season. It was always a huge threat. He started getting a lot of success with it using weakness policy, even though it's not a Maxmon, which I thought was pretty cool. Certain people would just try to get rid of it with a super effective move. It would tank and then just start clicking buttons because of its speed next to Whimsicott and redirection from Volcarona. Will was really able to just decimate people's teams with this thing. And Will had a good season and finished pretty high, and it was rewarded the final spot on the first team. So congrats to the coaches who got their mons in first All NDA first team. If you missed out, maybe you'll have in the second team. Let's move straight on to All NDA second team, where our first mon is a coach that didn't make the first team. So shout outs to Mal and the Chicago White Swalloons with their Necrozma Dustmane. Pretty sure Necrozma and Eternatus were equal on kills. We gave Eternatus the edge for basically finishing a little higher, performing just a little better on the season, and just being a little more tough to deal with. Necrozma, though, it's nothing to be. It's still a joke of a mod. Like, weakness, another insane bulky steel type, and with that weakness policy, Mel clicked many of max move buttons with that all season, and did some big things for sure.
Next up, we have Zekrom for our All NDA second team. This is coached by Mac. Hopefully, Mac, if you're hearing this, congratulations on the baby. I know you haven't been active, but if you do listen to this, congratulations. Zekrom, a very, very, very nice pickup. I believe A tier, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the only A tier restricted, I believe. Oh no, and Giratina.
Oh yeah, Garrett. Yeah, you can't forget about Giratina. Zekrom was able to do a lot of things. I mean, Dragon Dance, really, yeah, it just boosts damage when you really don't even need to. It's actually kind of crazy. But paired next to Indeedee, which is a very, very bulky boy, doesn't want to die. You just kind of get that set up. And then he threw in Riolu, and then you just click coaching, and now it's like, oh, my attack's at +3. Let me max now. And it was a very, very good mon, very good pickup by Mac.
For sure. It was he ran in a lot of cool sets as well. Like he ran a lot of the times because he ran weakness policy a lot for him. He ran like special coverage moves at the same time. Like I know he ran Earth Power a decent bit, which is really cool. Like really cool sets he ran with Zekrom. And people were maybe hesitant about an A tier restricted, but did wonders for Mac. And we move next into another member of the Hungry Harrisons in Charizard G-Max. I mean, when he added this thing, like, onto his team, I think it was like week 2, week 3. I don't know. I'm not quite exactly sure when he did it. It was just taking lives. Like, absolutely just taking lives. I don't know if you ever got to play it, Justin, but I certainly did. I got to feel the wrath of the Sun team.
I did not. I didn't have to face that, luckily for me.
Yeah, I took a fat L to it. Other people had a little better luck than I did. But Charizard just took lives, man. It was Max Zard in Sun is a bit of a monster.
It hurts so much, and I'm glad I didn't have to play that thing, because I guarantee you I would have had another loss on my column. I just did not want to face it, and I got blessed by the RNG gods for once, and didn't have to play Harrison. So thank you, RNG gods, for that one. Moving on, though, we have another mon on this list that I think you might want to talk about, but I'll talk about it because you also have another one on this list that you probably want to talk about a little bit more. For the fourth selection for the All-NDA second team, we have Thunderous, coached by you. Yeah, I mean, this thing was a problem, right? You could go Defiant, physical attacking, or you could go Prankster and be a more of a supportive mon, or just special damage in general. It was really hard to predict which one you would want to do, considering what your team look was. Definitely something that was very hard to prep for specifically. But you used it very, very well. It got a lot of usage, a lot of kills, and it did a lot of good work. Yeah, I mean, just a very, very strong mon.
I was very happy with its versatile and how it worked for versatility and how it worked for me.
No, it's versatile. It's versatile.
No, wait, what?
You gotta commit to it.
No, versatility. I corrected myself. Fuck off. Yeah, its versatility was actually huge and helped me a lot, for sure. And next to it, we have his partner, Zam. Zam's Crown was also a huge member for I think most games they came I feel like if it 2 or 3 sets, they came to at least 2. So like if it was 2 sets, they were there. 3 sets, there was at least one of them. These two mons did not rarely not make the battlefield. Like they weren't like kill leaders every week. It's like I would have a Max mon maybe next to them that would do some, but these two were staples, and they got a lot of kills and a lot of playing time, and were so clutch down the stretch for me. They just did their thing all season, and very, very happy with how they allowed me to finish it first place in the regular season. So they were for sure second NDA second team worthy. And finally, this was a tough one to call. We were deciding between many things for the final spot and NDA second team, but due to its like late season run and large amount of kills that it acquired over that, we rewarded it to Ryder and the San Diego Raichus and his Celesteela. That thing was a problem. It's always been a problem in our draft leagues. Bulky offense, man. Bulky steel types offense in the Dynamax format is not to be taken lightly, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this mon was absolutely crucial, especially in playoffs, even though we don't really consider playoffs for these awards. But Celesteela was definitely a problem, especially after the Togedemaru pickup. Having Lightning Rod paired next to the Celesteela made it just that much more dangerous and that much more viable to be able to come in, sweep, set up its airstreams, just do a whole bunch of things that are not good for the other coach, let's put it that way.
For sure.
It just went in. It went in a lot, and especially after the Togedemaru pickup, it was definitely worthy of being on the All-NDA second team.
Yeah, for sure. And with that wraps up our first and second All-NDA team. Congratulations to any coaches that had mons in here. You had a great season with them. And now we're going to show love to some maybe lower tier mons, because obviously your first and second teams are made up by mostly your restricteds and your heavy hitters that you take early. But we wanted to show love to some lower tier mons. So here is your All-NDA B tier team, starting off with, not surprisingly, another Linster Leafeon, coached by Mr. Wex. Mienshao. Mienshao was a problem all season in the B tier. I think it was a staple in Wex's team.
I don't know if there's a single set where he didn't show it at least once. I'm
I
not sure
don't.
if there is.
Yeah, I'm not sure either because it's fake out and focus sash support with huge offense, with close combat, and it like fake out helping hand support, and even like weakness policy proc sometimes with like brutal swing and stuff like that was really really clutch.
Don't forget about coaching, by the way. Coaching is a very, very useful move on Mian Xiao, and I would have loved to have used it, but you know, some things happen, and you get sniped. You know, the pick before you want to pick it, so that's fine. No, it's really okay. But I mean, listen, I mean, it got a lot of usage. It did what it needed to do. It was a staple on his team. It was always in team preview, and you knew it was going to be in team preview. So it just
You
makes
still
it that
couldn't
much.
stop it, man.
I know that's what makes it worse. It's like you know it's coming, and it's still something that people had problems with, and was still able to set up like efficiently. So very very worthy of the B tier list. And even though they're B tier, it doesn't mean they're B tier to us. They're still a very very good mon. And the next very very good mon to me is Aegislash. Aegislash, coached by New England Palkias. Will this thing? Well, it gave problems. It gave so many people problems. You can run weakness policy on it. Sometimes Shookaberry, honestly, just you can run weakness policy on anything and make it viable. But Aegislash, just in general,
It was a problem. Like you wouldn't expect
it was so
Aegislash
good.
in Gen 8 in the doubles format to be a problem, but Will put his little singles spice on it and made it very viable in doubles. It was a problem it's hard to prep for. Like being able to change from defensive and offensive made it very hard to take out at sometimes, and then when you give it a weakness policy and it made it offensive, it took lives. Aegislash was very I don't even know if it was underrated all season. It was a threat all season, and I was very very surprised to see how well it did.
One thing I do want to point out though is the amount of steel types we have on these lists. I think that says a lot about the typing in general and how
you
strong
need a
it can
viable steel type on your team for sure. It
be. Oh,
is
absolutely. To counter some
staple
of the
to any
fairy,
draft
like
league.
you need it. Yeah.
Just for bulkiness and bulky offense, man. Underrated for sure. And speaking of steel types, we move on to our next member, which is maybe not the bulkiest of steel types, but for what it did this season, even like we said, it was we put it on this list, and it was a transaction for week 6. It was that much of a threat after joining. And a shout out to Ryder and the San Diego Raichus for arguably the best transaction of the season. We will get to that later. Togedemaru. I mean, what an insane ad this was. Like, it just made Celesteela so much more of a problem, and its fake out Nuzzle, Zing Zap, Spiky Shield, Iron Head, like Eerie Impulse, like it could just do so many things that'll cripple your team and just make it so much harder for you to beat Ryder. Like just for that alone, like it just made beating Ryder's team that was already bulky and annoying so much more annoying. Caused me and Justin some big problems for sure.
some nightmares. Just the nuzzling, the Eerie Impulse, just all of that combined with Lightning Rod ability next to Celesteela. It's a hard matchup. But it did so much supportive work, and it also did a lot of damage with Zing Zap. I think that's pretty underrated how much damage it was able to do sometimes.
Definitely chip some things down for sure.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very good mon in B tier. I don't think it'll ever get a boost to A tier. I don't think it's worthy that much, but as a B tier, it's definitely elite, and it deserves a spot on this list. Moving on,
yep,
we have Maractus from the Chicago White Swadloons, Mao. Now, Maractus, I feel like you could argue it to not be on this list, but it was used in such a unique way this season, and like very effectively. It deserves a spot, in our opinion. Who can forget the Maractus and Metagross showdown at the very, very end between Mao and Wex? That was iconic moment of the regular season. Storm Drain, just mitigating any sort of water moves if you had to face the Kyogre Tornadus. No, what was it? Yeah, it was Tornadus, right?
Yeah, Torn Ogre.
Yeah, just facing like that sort of team. Like Maractus was great for it. It was just great all around, honestly.
Had a solid Dynamax a couple times, took some lives, was great support for things like Cinderace that don't want to take those water moves, and it just helped Mal's team, I think, a lot more than he thought it would, and it was fun to watch Maractus all season for sure. So,
I feel like he knew. I feel like he knew when he picked it up. It was kind of a sleeper steal.
Yeah, we didn't know though. For us, it was a very much surprise, but very much necessary inclusion into the All NDA B tier team. And we can move on next to Mr. Parahax himself. Caused many teams to get very upset this season, I would say. Was this Mon of the Hungry Harrison, and it is Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan's a weird one because it kind of is like an in-between support and offensive Mon, but I think that's what made it so good, because it would support Harrison's team but also do some decent chip damage. That would, like, those body slam pairs that Harrison got, man, so many. And fake out support and other things he ran on it were just really annoying to deal with all season. For sure.
Kangaskhan was definitely like I would say it's one of the more crucial components of Harrison's team. Although it is B tier, so it isn't something that's used as often as something as in like A or S. It's still, when it showed up, it put in a lot of work and was able to do a lot of great things for Harrison's team. I mean, just having those stab normal type moves, or just being annoying in general with the body slams, making the paras hit, etc. It's definitely worthwhile for this list, for sure.
For sure. And to wrap it up, let you talk about the final member of the B tier.
Ooh, I get the honor of allowing Kethup to be on this list. My boy Seismitoad, coached by me. Paired next to Pelipper with Drizzle. It was very, very nice Mon. I like to run Life Orb on it, and it gave me the option of running physical or special, and because of that, it's kind of hard to prep for. But overall, it did a lot of work for my team. I know against Mouse team, it put in a lot of work. It showed up a lot, and it did a lot for me. Something I'm really happy with, and a Mon that, honestly, when I picked it up, I thought it might do a little more than it actually did throughout the season. I kind of relied on Dialga a lot more than I thought I would, but I mean, overall, it still was a monster, and Kethup, you will never be forgotten.
All right. Well, that wraps up the All NDA B tier squad, and we can now move on to the C tiers. Which reminds me, stick around till the end, and we shall do a little announcement about off season for sure. But without further ado, I will be most excited to talk about the first mod of the All NDA C tier squad, the leader in kills and just absolute goatness for C tier mods. That is my very own Lapras. As much as I was maybe the most hated coach all season because people hate seeing me win again, finishing first again, I considered myself the unsung hero of the league because I allowed no one.
What the fuck?
I allowed no one to draft, especially you. I allowed no one to draft.
Doesn't make you the unsung hero of the league.
I saved people from Gmax Lapras by taking Lapras.
Oh my god!
In the second round in the C tier.
The unsung hero was almost Wex when he almost got first. That was the unsung hero. Not you. You can't be unsung when you're in first place. It's just not possible. You just can't do that.
From the start, man, I stopped the duel. The instant Aurora Veil Lapras G-Max.
No. The unsung hero is either Mira Harrison for beating you in the regular season. Like, nah. That's nah. Continue.
Anyway, Lapras did lead all Mons in kills from the C tier. Was a very big staple in some of my matches. Had very good matchups. Bulky Assault Vest or Weakness Policy sometimes. I don't know if I ran Weakness Policy, but Lapras was huge in certain matchups against the big dragon types, or like I try to set up Rain for Harrison and Sun teams, stuff like that. Lapras is huge all season, and like I said, I stop people from drafting G-Max Lapras, so I think it deserves a spot on here just for that alone. But its play spoke for itself as well. And then speaking of Harrison, we go straight into another member of Harrison's team, the Musharna. Musharna was a bit of a problem this season for people. I think it maybe low key as well. Like I remember he ran some support sets where bulky Musharna was able to tank hits and help out the squad, but he also ran some offensive sets that Musharna got some kills this season. I think it might have been second behind Lapras if I could be mistaken, but Musharna was a problem.
Maybe either that or I don't know. Yeah, it definitely was a problem. Like when it showed up, it did a lot more work than people thought it was going to, because it is a C tier and it was like a surprise. So I mean, for that reason alone, it definitely deserves a spot on the C tier squad. And just in general, I mean, you're not going to see a lot of high usage C tiers like you will see in other tiers. So trying to find something that's like super worthy of C tier is going to be hard, because not all C tiers are created equal. It's kind of just the band of misfits that can't fit in a higher tier. But Musharna is definitely not a misfit. It's definitely perfect for C tier, and it's one of the higher, like probably on the upper echelon of C tiers as well. Just did so much work when it was brought, and Harrison used it very well, in a surprising way as well. And yeah, it was good. It was surprisingly good.
For sure. And then next we can go straight into our next Mon, which is Hitmonlee, from the Rhyme City Rhydons and Griffin's first Mon. Griffin had a rough season, but not without some highlights, of course, and used Hitmonlee a bit from his C tier. I believe because he had a Psychic spam squad for a bit. He ran Unburdened Psychic Seed. Hitmonlee isn't a terrible C tier mod, to be fair to it, and it did some decent things for Griffin offensively. It finished pretty high up there on the kills for C tiers, and came to a decent amount of matches, and for sure deserved a spot on this tier list. This all C tier team.
Yeah, no, it's a discount Mian Shao for sure. It does like everything Mian Shao does, except it's not Mian Shao. Hitmonlee's great. It has a very high attack stat with Unburden. It can be the fastest mon on the field, and out of a C tier, what else do you want?
Exactly.
So what if it's a glass cannon, or if it's not like super bulky? It's gonna be fast. I mean, I'm pretty sure he maxed it at least once.
Yeah, at least once.
He used it very well, and it was a staple of his team. So for a C tier, that's all you can ask for. That's like the most you can ask of it, and it did that and then some. So Hitmonlee very deservedly on the C tier squad.
And I would love to hear you talk about the next one.
Nah, you know what? I'll let you do it.
We have Mr. Munchlax of the Uli Ludicolo, coached by Rooster. Why don't you want to talk about Munchlax, Justin? I don't.
No. Okay, fine. I'll talk about it. Listen, Munchlax it's a good mon. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a good mon. I just also want to point out for a quick second that I have 2 of the mons on the all NDA C tier squad on my off-season squad, and I think that's for a good reason. No, yeah, Munchlax. can only hit
Did
it super
some-
effectively with fighting types and pair it with Eviolite or something with Friend Guard or, Redirection or anything like that. Munchlax goes in. Now, I think when he played me, he paired it with an Ally Switchmon in Kling Klang, if I'm not mistaken. And that kind of sucks, especially when you're preparing for not Munchlax. It's a lot bulkier than you think when it's maxed, and it was a problem. I mean, it's definitely underrated, for sure. You give it thick fat, and you give it an Eviolite, and now you're kind of in the mud because you can't hit it hard. That definitely didn't happen to me. I definitely didn't lose to a Munchlax. I don't know what you're thinking. Don't check the replays. Anyway, Munchlax, yeah, it's a good mod. It does. Yeah, so the next one I think you want to talk about is Marowak. You can take this one away. I'm just going to take off my headset and cry in a corner.
Marowak was a great add to the South Jersey Swoombats this season. I got a lot of offense from my C tiers unexpectedly. Marowak hits like a truck with thick club. In certain matchups when I needed a good offensive ground type, like Marowak was always there, man. Whether I was able to get a Trick Room or it came in the back, I was able to get off like a strong Rock Slide or something. Marowak was huge for me, especially late season into the playoffs. Marowak won me some matches, so I think it definitely deserved a spot in the C tier squad. Just huge mod for me, offensively, and even like Lightning Rod here and there to support Lapras was really clutch. So a definite shout for Marowak. Love that. Loved using it all season. And that will transition us to the final member of all NDA C tier squad in a very nice support mod. Maybe on the stat sheet that we have, it doesn't look that great, but that's because this thing didn't go for kills. It went for sheer support and was always a threat when prepping for, and that was Riolu of the of Max team, the BC Butterfreeze. It's just great at what it does, for sure. Like the amount of support it offers Trick Room teams, is really good. So for that reason alone, Riolu is a staple in Max team all season. I think it came to almost every game, between the coaching that it did for Zekrom, made it such a big threat, or the easy Trick Room setup that it offered him. My favorite was the Trick Room setup with Hatterene and then the Bullet Punch into it as well for the weakness policy proc.
Yeah, that was really, really good. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that was my favorite set that he ran all season. It was really good. So for that, just that overall great support, Riolu was a definite must in our all NDA C tier squad for sure. And
moving on,
yep.
Now, the all NDA support team. Of course, we can't miss out on the support mons, who maybe don't get all the attention, but obviously help out such a great deal. Starting off, we'll start with Comfey of the San Diego Raichus. Ryder used Comfey. It probably the most annoying mon I've ever witnessed in my entire life. You get a mon down below 50%, it's maxed, and it's like, you know what? I feel nope, it's back up. It's back up in health. Okay, now it's out of max and it's below 50 again. All right, I'm good. Nope. So problem is you got to get rid of Comfey. To get rid of Comfey, you got to get through its Babiri Berry. To get rid of its Babiri Berry, you got to hit it. Now you're getting hit twice by the Giratina he usually pairs it with, and now the mon that you're trying to hit Comfey with is now dead, right? So it's so annoying with the Floral Healing Triage, pair it with like a Draining Kiss. Ally Switch as well, he's used a few times.
He ran screens, Ally Switch, Protect, like Draining Kiss, Giga Drain, and then obviously
so
Floral
annoying.
Healing. Draining Kiss to proc weakness policies, Floral Healing, screens, and Ally Switch is just so toxic. Ryder's so toxic. Can we just talk about how toxic Ryder? No.
I know, it's just
this mod is so annoying, and Ryder used it pretty much as annoying as you can get with this. Like, that's how Ryder used it all season, and it worked. My favorite moment of Comfey this season was where you tried to tricked eject button, and he just double protected and then proceeded to.
Yeah. What the I've never used eject button before. And all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I'm gonna double protect to scout. I might as well go fuck myself because now I can't use Comfey at all because you have Draining Kiss as a triage mon. So it's like, well, now I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna take a giant fucking edge of a table. I'm gonna shove it up my ass. I'm gonna twist it. That's what I wanted to do when I saw that. I wanted to tear out my eyes, pour bleach all over them, and then shove them back in. That's what I wanted to do.
This, ladies and gentlemen,
fucking ass.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Comfey effect.
Why am I upset? It happened so long ago, and I'm still mad.
Well, we can move on to the mon that it stopped the eject button in switching. You can talk about your Meowstic next.
Well, Meowstic was great. Meowstic was a great mon.
It was a great mon in A tier, man. It literally does what Grimmsnarl does, but just like a little, almost, it's pretty much as good as Grimmsnarl in my opinion. And it was pushed down to A tier, which was just.
Yeah, so wild. I mean, it's just like, compare it next to a nice cheeky Dusknoir with weakness policy, and you do some things. But in all reality, I mean, running screens is always great. It can run ally switch as well, which is very useful.
It's very underrated. T-Wave and Yawn, like the statuses it would put on people were underrated for sure.
But yeah, I mean, I think Yawn more often than not was getting put on my team as I got later into the season because I realized how effective making something drowsy and then putting it to sleep was. It's just you either have to force a switch or you have to eat it, and it puts the other coach in a very uncomfortable position. So you really have to deal with the Meowstic before you deal with any other portion of the team effectively. Yeah, it did a lot. You compare it with like a Fake Tears, Arm to mitigate offense. It was very, very good. And with Prankster, it's just going first almost all the time. So it was a great mon, great support mon, and it deserves to be on this list for sure.
Yep. And next is arguably my MVP other than Comfey for support mon. Like, very underrated how supportive Weezing, Galarian Weezing was for the Yuli Ludicolo's Roosters team. That thing, I wanted it so bad with Regigigas, and I choked very badly in the draft because I knew how big of a support mon it was. And just for doing what it does with Regigigas alone is just massively supportive. But with the Will-O-Wisps and other status moves and just just canceling abilities and being somewhat bulky with Protect and Will-O-Wisp and offering like Haze, I think I got rid of stats stat boost a couple times. Weezing was just a problem week in and week out. Like prepping for Weezing support with like Regigigas or and not being like the fact that it doesn't cancel Calyrex's ability on that team is just, it's such a good like core right there that Rooster drafted. Maybe some very unlucky to not have it finish better in the playoffs, but like that team was built very well, and Weezing was at the very core of it and supported it very, very well, in my opinion. Always a nightmare to prep for sure.
Yeah, not a fan. Play against it anyway.
Yeah, these are the mods you hate to play against. And maybe next on our list is your favorite mod to play with.
Oh,
that was stolen from you.
Yeah, it was stolen from me, but like to play with in a non-sus way. Whimsicott, absolutely. We don't. The only. I'm not gonna cheat on low punny. I can't cheat on low punny. Anyway, Whimsicott is such a nice mon. Will used it very nicely this year. Just Tailwind. I mean, honestly, Prankster Tailwind. That's one of the best things you could have. Just that kind of sort of, in general, speed control is a beautiful thing. But I mean, that's not the only thing Whimsicott can do. I mean, you can talk about like things like Worry Seed to get rid of abilities that bother you. You can run Fake Tears, Charm, do a little bit of damage with like a D-Gleam or a Moonblast.
Green.
Just does so much. It does so much, and it's a great mon. to have on your team, and Will was very fortunate to get it before I could. That's for damn sure. Whether or not I'll be drafting it in the future, I am not sure. But I will say this: if it falls to me at a convenient spot, you better bet your fucking house that I'm picking up Whimsicott because it's just that good and very deserving of all NDA support team for sure.
For sure.
Then let me talk about Clefable here for a second. Yeah, that's next mod on the all NDA support team. Clefable.
Big
This
fat
thing-
ditto.
This thing from Wex, the Leinster? You know what? I'm just gonna say Leafeons. This Clefable was so annoying. It's so bulky. It's so hard to find mon that could do what Fat Ditto does better than Fat Ditto. I mean, redirections, helping hands, like just being there.
Eating max, like it would eat like max steel spikes without a Babiri Berry because these things would get boosted and unaware bulky Fat Ditto would just eat. Literally just eat.
It's so annoying and it does so many good things.
Lex best sets like weeks with it where when he ran screens, like I remember his prep for Rooster was really good with screens on Ditto Clefairy. I keep calling it Ditto now.
Just called it Clefairy. So
Clefable, I'm all over the place. It's just like screens on this thing.
Album, by the way.
To make like even his other mons bulky, like paired with its follow like redirection support is very, very good. I mean his 4 mons we've talked about were staples. Yveltal Metagross for offense, Clefable for maybe more passive support, and then the Mienshao for more aggressive support. Like it was a very well built team, and those mons were staples every week. And Clefable is fully deserving of an all NDA support team.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We were deciding if there was like a more all out support mon for the next spot in all NDA support team and the 6th spot, but as unbiased as possible, it was very hard to keep my Thundurus off this list, as I feel like at least half the weeks I brought Prankster Thundurus, and Will can attest to anyone how annoying Prankster Thundurus is, I think for sure. Thing just it's very underrated as a Prankster mon. It's not maybe as good as something like Torn because of like Tailwind and Taunt and that stuff, but Eerie Impulse, T-Waves, Swagger and Avalug 1 week, it worked out really well for me. Even speed control with Scary Face sometimes. Prankster Thundurus was really effective and almost too effective because you don't know if it's offensive or support. So, in my opinion, that makes it even better of a support mon because it can do both. So,
listen, the only thing you're missing with Thundurus here is maybe a Protect.
Yeah, that we do we do miss Protects. Pain and suffering. Okay. Back to speaking about Protect and defense, we can swiftly move on to the final team of 6 mons we will get into, and we will go into the individual awards. The all NDA defense team. Now these mons, the bulkiest of boys, the hardest to kill, just toxic, like just bulky toxic mons that you just could never get rid of for some reason. They always sat there and did their thing, and it was frustrating. Some repeats here for sure. But here's a newbie on this list. Incineroar. Assault Vest Rider ran Assault Vest Incineroar, and it just with its support and Assault Vest, that thing was so annoying to get rid of, man. And pair it next to the healing of Comfey, oh my god, this thing was impossible to get rid of and just walled certain teams. Oh my lord, this thing was so annoying. Oh.
I mean, I have nothing else. You hit the nail on the head. I have nothing else to say. It's just, you think you're doing good things. Oh wait, no, there's Comfey with the floral healing. You just got it below a certain amount of health, and now it's back up to almost full. You might as well just click FF. Because
it took so much just to chip away at it. Like it was so, like it just took so much to get rid of it, this Incineroar, whether it held its Vest or those health berries. Like it's so annoying to get rid of, and then pair it with the rest of his team, and it was a nightmare. It for sure deserved all defense team. And then next we go to first team all NDA as well. Yveltal. I mean, as much as this thing led the league in kills, like he ran it with like assault vest most weeks. Like it didn't have like weakness policy or attack items. Like it was so bulky. It sat around for turns and turns, and part of the reason why it got so many kills is because you couldn't get rid of it. It just sat there. Like Yveltal's is just bulk in general, like just from being Yveltal, like this built-in bulk is just so underrated as a captain and a restricted mod for sure. Such a big mod for bulkiness. Like it just took so many hits.
Yeah, I mean, I had my issues with it. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm not a fan of Yveltal. It hurt my feelings.
Yeah, it likes to live on one a lot, you know, from max electric moves. But
yeah, it's very disappointing.
You can go on next and talk about your member of the all NDA defense team. Little repeat.
Yeah, sure. I mean, talk about Dialga as much as I want. I mean, Dialga, like I said before, with the max moves such as, Quake and Steel Spike, you're boosting my defenses and I'm not dying. You go into something thinking like, all right, who dying? You think you're like Eli, you think you're cool, you're like, all right, who dying? And it's like, oh shit, I'm dying because I can't kill this thing. It's been on the field for 7 turns and I've hit it every single time and it's not dead yet. Dialga was a bulky beast. I mean, just the sheer like defensive stats just in general, just enough to like put you in a coma. But pair that with the offensive potential that it had, it would survive so much. And it was painful for a lot of coaches, I know, to have to prep for this thing and then try to kill it and then be unsuccessful. So, I mean, very, very deserving, in my opinion, of the all-NDA defense team. Not the only steel type on this list, though. I think you want to talk about Zamazenta if
you wish.
I
mean, this is a given. Like, I drafted Zom for how bulky it was, man. Like, getting a defense boost on send out and then being able to run HP and special defense bulk in its EVs is just so good all season. Like being able to it would sit on the field and eat max moves and then hit max mons back for big damage. It just took a lot of hits, man. It took so many hits for me. Like it had to, like I said, it was a staple. It had to come every week just for the amount of hits it took, especially from Dynamax Mon. It's the perfect Dynamax counter. I was very happy with that. Like as much as like. It's such a good fit because Dynamax is this brand new mechanic we got this gen, and it was overpowered. Like your Dynamax Mon is your staple. Like that thing does the most damage, gets all the kills. Having something like Zom from the restricteds to counter the Dynamax feature a bit was very big for me, and I think fully deserved being on the all defense team for that reason. And then we have again what we talked about in the L support team. Like Weezing just from Rooster's team just sat there. It sat there with Protect and ran like you just run max bulk. You don't really need it for its offensive capability. You should run max bulk on this Weezing, and it just eats hits and sits around and just is annoying. Like these mons on this list are just annoying because you can't get rid of them.
It takes your lunch money and doesn't even say sorry. It shows no remorse.
Yeah, like we talked about it a lot on the support team, so I won't go crazy into it. But like that mon just sat there and ate hits because you have to get rid of that mon first before you get rid of anything else because it's supporting the other mon so well. So in theory, you're like, hey, let me get rid of this Weezing, but then like when you can't because it just sits there, it's very, very frustrating to play against. And then the final member of the all NDA support team, defense team, is big bulk monster himself, a transaction. Actually, only played maybe a little over half the games for Ryder this season, but its bulk and how long it stayed alive cannot go underrated, and that is Giratina. I mean, between how bulky it is naturally and then running it in a Dynamax format, and sometimes with Calm Minds and stuff, and max moves, giving it boosts. It's just Ryder's team, man. It was so bulky and so annoying.
Yeah.
It makes me sad.
So, Giratina naturally, just by itself, would have made the All NDA defense team. So to put in perspective, he has an All NDA defense team member. You pair that with Comfey. Now, you get the whole picture. And that is, hopefully now you guys can understand why I want to Sorry, I had a stroke. It's why I want to just bash my head into a spiked fence and not stop until my brain cells commit suicide. That's how bad I hated this team. It sucks. Yeah, it sucks. That's it. Yeah, I'm good. No, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Maybe if I tell myself I'm good one more time, I'll actually be good.
None of us were good, clearly, as, not spoilers anymore, Ryder won the league, so.
Yeah.
But now we can move on into the individual rewards for the season. That probably took a bit to go through all the teams. There's a lot of mods to talk about, but hopefully we can get through this relatively quickly and get to our off-season announcement. Our first award is the rookie. Justin, we can alternate back and forth by giving awards. So I will start off by the rookie coach of the year. This obviously reward goes to a new coach that we add I think more than not we have. I think every season so far we've had a new coach at least join the league. This season we expanded. We had everyone return, plus an old coach return and a new coach. I guess maybe the new coach the coach that returned from past seasons was eligible, but our new coach had a great season this year. Showed why he is just a great battler within singles and doubles. Proved a lot of people. Maybe his team was very suspect at first. He didn't know how it was going to do, but he used it immensely. Made maybe 1 to 2, very few transactions at all. Really didn't need to. And of course, he made the best transaction. He added a Swoobat to his team, so already goated right there. Was rookie coach of the year Will the Kid, or well, as we call him, Will, our ginger friend of the New England Palkias, had an unbelievable season. I believe finished 5th, right up. I think your prediction was he'd get top 4. And he finished 1 spot right out of it, which is a shame. But amazing season.
Listen, he had the team for it. It just, I mean, I'm not wrong. I'm still not wrong because he made it in the semis.
He made it to the semifinals with that team, so he did finish that way, top 4. But regardless, new coach, great first season, and we are happy to have him. For sure.
Absolutely. Now, moving on to the next award, we have 6 Men of the Year, which is comprised. It's just going to be comprised of the best B plus C tier Mon that we have decided, and the Mon that we came to the conclusion was the best B plus C tier Mon was Mian Xiao of the Leinster Leafeons. Wex used it literally every single time he played, almost, and fake out hurts, close combat hurts, coaching bad. Had the opportunity for wide guard if needed. Mian Xiao is just a beast. What can we say? I mean, it does great things. It can set off weakness policy with brutal swing, as we've talked about before. And it's very deserving of the 6 Men of the Year.
For sure. Like I said, Wex had staples, and they did their job so well. And Mian Xiao was not. I mean, Mian Xiao was definitely a part of that list of Mons. And came every week. You knew it was going to do, and it didn't matter at all. It just did his thing. So for sure, definitely deserving of this reward. And our next reward or award. I don't know why I keep calling rewards. It's an award. Brain work. Next award is for the best free agent of the season. So best free agent ad of the season. And this award was very, very tough because as we only look at the regular season for these awards, we wanted to give it to a transaction that maybe was made a little earlier, had more of an impact over the whole course of the season. If we were counting playoffs, I think this award. So we'll give I'm gonna give a little shout out to the runner up for sure. If we were counting playoffs and everything, I think this award would have went to Ryder and his Togedemaru as of the support it added to his team, making it that much more toxic and difficult. Cannot go without it was so good. But over the course of the season, as transactions go, this one was unbelievable. Got so many kills, like we talked about it already. It is Charizard of the Hungry Harrisons. I mean, just we talked about it already, but like its offense in that Sun team has a Dynamax, G-Max mod most occasions was unreal and a great add to his team. Who Harrison struggled with his team's identity early and really found it with his little Sun team here and adding of the Charizard, and it did big things for him for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of damage. I didn't see it luckily, but everyone else did, so it is what it is. Best match of the season for the next award goes to Mao versus Wex. I think no one's gonna forget about the miraculous miracle, as I like to call it, or the almost miraculous miracle, against the Metagross.
Many moments stuck out this season, but this one was it sticks with us the most for sure.
Yeah, it's just good old fun. What else can you say? I mean, it's a good time. I mean, not really much else to say. Did touch on it earlier, so yeah. Match.
Yeah. That match, it turned into a singles match that last set, and it really could have went either way. Mal almost pulled it back with Miraculous against Wex's Metagross, but those spiky shields were they were doing some damage. I forget else what the other movesets were, how he was chipping down the Metagross, but it was once Wex realized that Earthquake wasn't a like a contact move, he was in a better spot, but was still really hyped to say the least. And there was other moments across the season, but this match for its intensity and just overall moment in that third set was really, really cool. So the biggest upset of the season, this award is pretty self-explanatory. What we based it off is like maybe a coach that finished lower or didn't make the playoffs, how they did against a coach that finished higher up in the table this season, and we awarded this to the victory of Germ over Wex. So the Aya Alomomola upset the Lincer Leafeons 2-1. This was really huge end of the season. Germ kept his playoff hopes alive week 9 by doing this. Made the playoff race really intense, and Wex had 2 losses this season to Kyogre, and because of the trade, and which we will get to in a moment. Speaking of the trade, Germ used Kyogre really well and beat Wex with it again and upset. Wex would have taken over the 1 seed if Germ didn't beat him here. Yeah, so I mean, me and Wex would have played week 10 for it anyway. But in the current time, Wex would have taken it over if he beat Germ here. So Germ had a huge upset this week, and it kept his playoff hopes alive and made the title race even more interesting. So very, very good match and very big upset. Definitely worthy of the award for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But the best story of the season, I think, has to go to the Drunk trade.
Yeah. That is their next award. Story of the season. Jug Trade was so funny, man.
you could talk. I know you like this one. You could talk about this one if you want.
Riolu had many a drunk moment in this season. I remember just watching matches late at night. He'd like come in and be like, just in the chat, like saying some dumb shit, and then he'd be like, "Yeah, I'm drunk. Sorry, guys." It's just like, God damn it, Riolu. But this man was drunk in chat, not happy with the team. Jerem wasn't really happy with his team, how it was going. And the drug trade happened. They basically swapped their restricteds and mods they've been using all season. And it helped Riolu push towards playoffs, and it helped Jerem keep his. Jerem missed out like just a little bit short, but I mean it was a huge trade and huge moment of the season, and really made the season interesting. And it was just a funny moment, like that big of a trade. Like we're limited 4 transactions, but trades are unlimited. So having a big trade for like 3v3, like it was 3 mods each. And that trade was just really cool, really interesting, and pushed both these coaches forward for sure, which is funny. Like both, they had their teams and they were like kind of down low, and then they made the trade, and it just pushed them up to new levels. And Jerem unfortunately just missed out on playoffs, but it pushed Riolu forward and even upset Harrison in the play-in rounds. He even got a win with it. Unfortunately, he had to play me in the first round of 8, and I caught it up. But it was very, very good for both of them, and really exciting for the league, and really rejuvenated like the lower teams in the bracket for sure. It was a great moment.
Very, very funny moment indeed.
I'm excited for this next award, Justin.
So the next award is Coach of the Season, and obviously, I think the Coach of the Season has to go to Ryder. No, it's going to not Wex. Unfortunately, it's going to Kevin.
I mean, I don't, like I said, we do make these awards. It's hard to say, like, not be biased, but like we did base it off regular season. I did make it to the final. I did lose the final, so maybe you would argue Ryder's Coach of the Season, but as unbiased as possible, I think it's justified that I win Coach of the Season since I finished it first. And I think you agree with that.
Yeah, I kind of want to have my Kanye moment and just say Ryder had the best season of all time. But, I mean, yeah, if we're going off a regular season, then it does make sense that you would be the coach to have this award. I mean, to be fair, you played really well throughout the entire season. You finished first, which is no joke. I mean, it's not something we can overlook, even though you didn't finish first at the very end where it actually matters. But that's neither here nor there in these sorts of awards. So, I mean, I think it's a well-deserved Coach of the Season. Don't see how you could give Coach of the Season to anybody else other than maybe Wex.
Yeah, Wex or Ryder. I mean, I think that's all. Or Wex for his amazing change from this season. Maybe Wex. We don't have an award for it, but we could give a shout out to Wex for maybe most improved coach from last season to this season for sure.
From being a major underdog to trying to scrape his way into the final seed of the playoffs last season to
from redemption arc,
front runner. Yeah,
redemption arc, the front runner.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very good moment. I would argue maybe it should go to Wex, but I mean, you can't go against the logistics here and the facts. And the facts say that you finished top of the table, and therefore you are the Coach of the Season. So, congratulations to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We have 2 more awards, and we are back to awarding Pokemon awards. Although it is a testament to the coach, of course. We have MVP left, and we have DPOY left. So best overall mon and best defensive mon both deserve their own award. And I am happy to present to you the MVP of the league is, with no surprise, it's already been in 2 lists here. Yveltal as our MVP. Shout out Wax again. Wax has been all over this award sheet. He had a great season. Like I said, we've talked about it already, but it cannot go understated how much Yveltal was a huge factor for Wex's team. It led the league in kills, was huge defensively. It was impossible to get rid of, and arguably could have won the defensive Pokemon of the season as well, but we wanted to know. Shared the love, so spoilers, it's not Yveltal, but I mean, the win MVP is better, I think, obviously, but how much of a bulky offensive threat in the Dynamax format with restricteds. This cannot go understated. It was absolutely unbelievable for Wex all season. A great first round pick for him, and I think anyone can understand why we gave it to Yveltal for sure. Just on many reasons other than it just being the top killer in the league.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that good. You can't argue with the facts here. It's just, it put in so much work and it did so many different things for Wex, and it was just so hard to kill, and it did so much damage, and I'm getting flashbacks. But yeah, Yveltal, absolutely insane, man. Great work by Wex with this Yveltal, and very deserved for the MVP. And the last award that we have, thank God, because this has been going on for a while.
It has been, man.
The last award that we have is for the defensive Pokemon of the season. And the defensive Pokemon for this season, we decided on Giratina, because this thing is very, very hard to kill, being that it is a Maxmon paired next to Comfey. I mean, take that into consideration as well if you wish. But it just never wanted to die.
The players that win awards always have a good supporting cast around them, for sure. They are the highlighted mon, but it doesn't go without help from elsewhere. So obviously Comfey has been mentioned in all these picks for riders like support and defense, but Giratina's the star of the show, man. That 150 HP, base 120 defenses with Calm Minds and max moves that boost its defense. I mean, it is the easy, I think, winner for this category, for sure.
It just is so much work, and it was such a menace to society. It's hard to ignore it, and you really can't. Yeah, and that wraps up all of the awards. Congratulations to all of the coaches and their respective Pokemon for winning the awards that they have won. Hopefully Wex has gone through all of the slides that we have sent him and has posted a screenshot so you can see it for yourself. With that being said, that is the end of the season 4 of the NDA awards. Hope you guys have enjoyed this little presentation. And last but not least, we do have an off-season announcement. I know you guys have been chomping at the bit for this one. I'll let Kevin take this one away, and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah. So our off-season has been decided. We are doing a C-tier only draft. We draft 6 mons, and you build a team sheet, a submitted team sheet for the public with the mons you drafted. We'll be in groups. You'll play everyone in your group, and the top 4 from each group will moved on to a round of 8. I'm excited to play with C-tiers. I hope everyone else is. We have a doc we've drafted, and hopefully by the time this comes out, we'll have battles going already, man. It should be a lot of fun. I think every mon from the C-tier list, other than Lapras, because Lapras was removed for how good it was, I believe I have 2 of this list, and you have 2 of this list, actually, the all C-tier squad. So, expect big things from me and Justin. That's all I'm saying.
And, I mean, we have 4 of the 5 because Lapras is banned. So, I mean, listen, this could be dangerous. This could be dangerous, but obviously there's a bunch of other C-tier mons that are going to be highlighted in this tournament as well. So,
stay tuned for some off-season content, hopefully, on this channel.
Hopefully. We'll see what we'll get into here, but that'll wrap things up for episode 21 of the NDA podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm Gronk. Thank you, Kevin, for joining me today, and we will catch you guys next time. Peace out.
Thanks for participating all season and just being having a good league, good season. Congrats to all the coaches again, and peace out from me.